Early one morning, TV screens across China flashed red banners. Breaking news: the Yellow River is dying. Reporters stood by the riverbanks, their voices urgent. Drones captured the muddy, shrinking water. The images were shocking. Once the lifeblood of northern China, the river now looked sick. Villagers who had lived here for generations were scared. News anchors repeated the word crisis again and again. The news spread quickly on social media. Hashtags about the river's death trended for days. As the sun set, the nation waited, tense and anxious, for hope. The Yellow River had been declining for years. Its once mighty flow slowed to a trickle in places. Along many stretches, the smell of chemicals filled the air. Fishermen's boats lay tipped on dry mud, useless. People worried that the river might disappear for good. Factories lined the water's edge, pouring out waste. Fields nearby used heavy fertilizers, which ran into the river and turned the water green with algae. Plastic bottles and bags floated by, sometimes so thick they hid the water underneath. Fish numbers dropped sharply. Some common species, like carp, nearly vanished. Local children stopped playing by the riverside. Birds and frogs grew rare. Even the reeds and water lilies began to die off. Without the river's clean water, crops suffered, and people had to dig wells farther away. The river was more than just water. It was home, food, and life for millions. Every day, the river grew weaker. It was not just a local problem. It was a national warning sign. Something had to change, or the river would be lost forever. Pollution was the main enemy. For decades, factories dumped chemicals and dyes into the river. The pollution spread for miles, turning the water strange colors: pink, blue, even black. Farmers pumped huge amounts of water for crops, while cities took even more. Sometimes, the river dried up completely before reaching the sea. Overfishing made things worse. People caught more fish than the river could replace. Without fish, the river's food web collapsed. Birds, turtles, and people suffered. Now, with the river nearly gone, the scale of the crisis is clear. Faced with disaster, China's leaders made a bold decision. They would release millions of young fish into the river. The plan was risky and expensive, but scientists said it could help restore the river's balance, step by step. The announcement made headlines across the world. People wondered, could fish really save the river? The government gathered experts from universities, nature reserves, and fishing communities. They selected native species, carp, catfish, and grass carp, known for cleaning water and eating harmful plants. Special fish farms worked around the clock, raising healthy fingerlings for release. Trucks loaded with giant tanks of water and fish lined up along the riverbanks. Workers in rubber boots checked oxygen levels and water temperature. TV crews and local families came to watch. There was excitement, but also fear. No one knew if it would work. The plan was simple, but the stakes were high. Releasing fish was a leap of faith, a chance to help nature heal itself with a little push from humanity. Release day arrived like a festival. Crowds gathered along the river, waving flags and cheering. School children wore blue hats and held plastic fish toys. Officials made speeches about hope, renewal, and hard lessons learned from the past. The first buckets of wriggling fish were tipped gently into the muddy water. Soon, thousands of fish swam free. Their silver bodies flashed in the sunlight. Entire schools darted into reeds searching for shelter. People clapped and cried. Many took photos and videos to share online. "This is history," one woman said, smiling through tears. Reporters interviewed villagers and scientists. Some were hopeful, others cautious. "It will take time. Nature is slow," a biologist explained to the cameras, but everyone agreed. It was better to try than to do nothing. By sunset, millions of fish had been released into the river. The air felt different, lighter, full of possibilities. The waiting began. Would the fish survive? Could they really change the river's fate? At first, the changes were hard to see. Then, after only a few weeks, the river began to wake up. The water looked clearer, less green and slimy. The fish ate algae and tiny water insects, cleaning the river from the inside out. Fishermen started to catch healthy fish again, small at first, but bigger each month. Birds returned, diving and swooping to catch the new fish. Herons, kingfishers, and even rare eagles were seen along the banks. "It's like the old days," an elderly farmer said, watching a flock of wild ducks. Plants grew thick in the shallows, their roots holding the soil in place. Reeds and lilies came back, and frogs croaked through the night. Families gathered to picnic along the water. Children splashed, laughing, where only dead mud had been a year before. The river no longer smelled of chemicals. Instead, a fresh, earthy scent filled the air. Local markets began to sell fresh fish again, and restaurants offered traditional river dishes. The change was dramatic. It was not a miracle. It was the result of science, hard work, and nature's own power to heal. But not everything went smoothly. Some problems appeared that nobody expected. The new fish grew fast and ate a lot. They competed with other smaller fish for food and space. Some species, which were already rare, became even scarcer. Scientists worried about balance. Too many fish could bring new trouble. A few local fishermen ignored rules and caught the fish too soon. The government had to send patrols to protect the river, handing out fines and warnings. In some places, water pollution returned as factories raced to produce more goods. It became clear that fish alone could not solve every problem. Birds and animals that returned also made things complicated. Otters dug holes in riverbanks, causing small landslides. Some plants grew out of control, blocking small boats. "Nature always surprises us," a young ecologist said. People realized that helping the river meant keeping watch, year after year. The river's recovery was real, but fragile. It needed care, patience, and constant attention. The story of the Yellow River surprised the world. It showed that nature can recover, sometimes faster than we think, when given the chance. But it also showed that real success needs teamwork. Governments, scientists, local people, and even children all played a part. Releasing fish was only the first step. Cleaning up pollution, managing water use, and protecting wildlife were just as important. The river taught everyone that quick fixes rarely last. True recovery takes time, effort, and respect for the natural balance. People around the world watched China's experiment. Some countries started similar projects, releasing fish, cleaning rivers, and bringing back lost plants and animals. The story inspired hope, but also caution. Every river is different. What works in one place may not work in another. The biggest lesson was simple. Nature is powerful but also delicate. Once lost, it is hard to bring back. But with care and courage, recovery is possible. Today, the Yellow River is still healing. Scientists visit every season, measuring fish, testing water, and counting birds. Children study the river's story in school. Local leaders teach new rules to protect the water. There is pride, but also a sense of responsibility. The river's comeback is not finished. New challenges appear each year: climate change, new factories, and more people needing water. But the river's story gives hope. It proves that humans and nature can work together if we listen and learn. Other rivers in China and around the world face the same dangers. The lesson is clear: it is never too late to help. Even small actions can start big changes. Protecting nature is not just for governments or experts. It is for everyone. The Yellow River's journey is a warning and a promise. With courage, patience, and care, we can help nature return. The river is alive again, and its story is just beginning.